Welcome, everyone. My name is Corey Braden. I am the principal, Jersey Community High School. Wanted to welcome you to our 8th to ninth grade class of 2026 orientation. Um, Second year in a row that we have to do this virtually with the uptick that we have going on. We thought it would be best to do this large of a meeting virtually. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Some introductions for you. I introduced myself, Corey Braden, as the principal. I have two wonderful assistants, Mr. Roth and Miss Wolfel. We also have Dan Diamond is our at-risk coordinator at school, works directly with our guidance department. Mr. Canny is our activities director. He handles all things extracurricular. And you will have a chance to meet these three wonderful ladies, Miss Davis, Miss Gears, and Miss Wrench throughout this presentation. They are our school counselors. Miss Davis handles students with last names A through G, Dr. Gears, H through P, and Miss Wrench, Q through Z. So, like I said, those will be the counselors that you all work with based on your last name. And at any time you need to call, ask questions, our phone number is right down there at the bottom, 618-498-5521. Uh, just want to let you know that this slideshow and the course description booklet that you're going to see examples of throughout this presentation will be found on the Jersey Community Unit School District website. You can go there. I'll give a second here just to, if you want to take out your phone and take a picture, jersey100.org. And then by clicking menu for students, JCHS and the guidance department, if you click those, that will take you to the guidance department webpage, which at this point is not completely new, but it still is fairly new. There is a bunch of information, I should say, on that guidance webpage that you can look and find out. Also, always encourage everyone to download the Jersey CUSD 100 app just by searching that on the Play Store or the Apple Store. That will take you to our app and you can download it. The agenda, the counselors are going to talk to you about some important incoming information for our 8th graders that are going to be 9th graders next year, our physical exam requirements and vaccination requirements. The COVID vaccine is not required, and Jersey 100 is not planning on requiring that. I'll throw that out there right now, but there are other vaccinations that have been required for quite some time that are still required. Talk to you about academic planning, graduation and college requirements, all kids' favorite, driver education, give you some tips on some success in high school, and they will also talk to you about setting up individual meeting times. All kids and parents coming into ninth grade will have an opportunity to meet individually with their counselor. Kind of a scary thing here, but high school is the final transition to adulthood. The next step is post-secondary education, the military, or a job. I put this slide on here because I think it just kind of tried to set the tone of how important that this transition is. It's a fun transition, and equally as important, it goes by fast. I personally have one kid that's made it through high school, graduated. It seemed like it was just yesterday that she was in elementary school or middle school, and now I have to drop her off to college. Enjoy this time. It's important. Work hard, but it does go by fast. A couple informational highlights that I'd like for you all to hear from me because it is important. And when you transition into high school, that 10-day rule that talk about with absences, kids can, when they get unexcused absences at the high school level, it can result in a 0, and that can really hurt a grade. Not something that we like to do. We will work with you if you give us a call. If something comes up, we have kids that have, let's say that they have pneumonia and they're out a week. Well, we would count that as one day, not 10, or excuse me, not 5 towards your 10 days. So we will work with you. This rule is put into effect for kids that just don't come to school. And if you don't come to school, you can't come and miss 10 days and all of a sudden come back and want to make up all of your work if those 10 days are outside that you've already missed 10. So if you come to school, you're committed to coming to school. That's not something that you have to worry about. Second part there is grades. Grades for a freshman count the same as a senior. It all goes to your transcript and it all works its way towards that final transcript that will go on to post-secondary institution, military. So you want to make sure that you get off to a good start. A couple other things real quick. We don't take teacher requests at JCHS. Computer, we put names into a computer in the class we're going to offer, and it spits it out. We cannot do teacher requests, and we cannot do lunch requests. We do have kids that get fourth hour lunch, but all their friends are in fifth hour. Have to stick with fourth hour if that's the case. Again, my portion is over. I'm going to be turning this over to our guidance counselors so that they can talk to you. Again, if you haven't downloaded the app, take a look at it. A lot of our live feed, our social media goes through this app. Again, if you have questions or concerns, you can always give us a call here at the high school, and look forward to talking to you soon. Thank you.
Hi there, my name is Dr. Julie Gears. I'm the school counselor for JCHS students, last names H through P. I want to first thank Mr. Braden for giving the first part of the orientation for the class of 2026. I'm taking over to talk to the class of 2026 about academic planning for the next 4 years. So what are we going to do today? We're going to learn how you can register for classes for 9th grade. We're going to learn what is required for students to graduate from high school. We're also going to learn about other fun facts that you're interested in knowing about already, such as driver's ed. You may already have questions, but we'll try to cover all of the common questions that come up when we give the registration orientation in person. So you're viewing this video via an email that Mr. Diamond sent out, and that email included a lot of important information. So you want to refer back to the email at the end of this presentation so that you can make sure that you do everything that needs to be done to register yourself or your student for the 9th grade. So how does it work? Students will meet over the next 2 weeks with counselors. We'll either meet with them individually during school hours, or we'll meet with students and their parents via Zoom. There will be a schedule of appointments. We use Sign Up Genius to have parents sign up for appointment slots, and then we will send you a Zoom link on the day of so that you have a link. We can video chat about your student's academic future. We'll have more information on the dates that registration appointments are available at the end of the presentation. So the first things first, we'll talk about orientation folders. Normally we give out an orientation folder that looks like the one on your screen, and it includes information such as the course selection form. We like to call it the menu sheet. It includes a 4-year plan, lots of other documents, health documents. What we've done is we've put that in digital form, and the link to that digital orientation folder was also included in the email that you received from Mr. Diamond. So check that out. It will take you to the guidance webpage. So this has been updated recently, and we continue to update it to try to make it better. We're pretty proud of all of the new resources that we've added. So not only do you find school information, there's career information, workforce development, there's scholarship information. So it's a really good site to check out, just has useful resources. So you can also use the link besides to get to the orientation folders, just to check out the new guidance page. To get to the digital orientation folder, besides the link that was sent in the email, you can go to jersey100.org. And then as you can see at the bottom of the screen, if you scroll to quick links and click guidance department, you will come up with a guidance webpage, which looks like this. I have highlighted menu. If you go to the general information document locker and then 2223 registration, that's where you'll find all of this info. So first thing, let me go back. The first thing is that the state of Illinois requires health information. So all ninth graders are required to get a physical. Those physical forms were included in the digital orientation folder, but they will also be available at schools. We will have them at JCHS, and I will make an effort to get some to St. Francis Holy Ghost so that students have a hard copy of the health requirements for the 22-23 school year. What we recommend is that you make appointments to get your physical early, because we found that those appointments fill up and then students are excluded from school because they don't have the physical. So make that appointment early, get that physical so you can start school on the first day. Back to guidance, one of the pieces of information that you need to know about signing up for classes is that all classes have descriptions. And so we'll get to the menu sheets, which have a list of classes that you can choose for ninth grade. But if you're just looking at that list of classes, you may want to know what a certain class is all about, what they do, the curriculum. So via the JCHS website, you can click the menu button, and then there is a link to course descriptions and graduation requirements. And that will take you to a booklet that describes all the classes for 22-23, and it gives you an idea of graduation requirements as well. When we have these individual meetings with students, we're going to talk about two things. One is a 4-year plan. That will be the second thing we talk about. The 4-year plan is kind of just an idea of what classes students may want to take all 4 years of school. It certainly isn't a document that's set in stone. We'll revisit classes each year with students. They'll get a new menu sheet in a different color. Freshmen is green, sophomores yellow, juniors red, seniors blue. And we'll revisit and talk about this 4-year plan. Not necessarily grab this 4-year plan, but we'll talk about 4-year plan and if things have changed, and then we can update those course selections and menu sheets. This just gives students a rough idea of classes that they may want to take all 4 years of high school. And some classes will be available. Some classes may not be available that are in the description booklet for this year, but each year you'll get new description booklets that have any classes that we are going to offer. The freshman course selection form, this sheet is what we like to refer to as the menu sheet. And so information that you will fill out, we'd like to have you have these filled out in pencil before we meet with you. And so when we fill out the forms, we'll have you fill out your last name, first name, date of birth. This gives us an idea of when you can take driver's ed if you are eligible. We'll talk about college and career plans, and then that will relate to that 4-year plan. We'll try to guide you to some classes that may relate to your career or college plans. So several classes are available to freshmen. All freshmen have to take English, math, science, and social studies. Your 8th grade teachers will make recommendations based upon your performance in elementary school, and we will use those recommendations to sign you up for English, math, and science classes. And then for social studies, there's an option of world history or world history honors. All students, of course, have a lunch, and then most students as freshmen take a semester of PE and a semester of driver's ed. If your birthday falls within the range of the school year, then you will take driver's ed during the school year. It is available in the summer, and then some sophomores end up having to take driver's ed the first quarter of their sophomore year. We'll talk more about driver's ed requirements when we get to that point in the presentation. In general, freshmen have choices for elective classes. They have about 2 elective choices. And so those choices, they're listed below in family and consumer science, business. Of course, students can take a study hall, agriculture, intro to ag, foreign language, Spanish, industrial orientation, and then music, band, chorus, piano lab, music appreciation. And then those students who are participating in a sport are encouraged to take strength and conditioning, and we can fill that into the PE driver's ed slot that is listed in line 6. We can talk about the specifics of how the PE works and how those electives will fit into your schedule during individual meetings. In terms of what's required to graduate from JCHS and actually from any high school in the state of Illinois, all students have to take 4 years of English. Also, if a student is planning on going to a 4-year college after high school, they need 4 years of English. Students to graduate from high school in Illinois need 3 credits of math. It must include 1 year of algebra and 1 year of geometry. And most 4-year colleges require Algebra 2 as an entrance requirement. So those students planning on going to a 4-year college need to get to Algebra 2. Science 2 credits are required to graduate from JCHS. As freshmen, students would take life science or molecular biology, and as sophomores, chemistry, physical science, or earth science. The minimum admission requirements for a 4-year college are 3 credits, and so when they get to be students, when they get to be juniors and seniors, they'll have a lot of elective choices to get those 3 years if they're planning on going to a 4-year college. Social studies, 3 credits are required for graduation. 9th grade, world history. 11th grade, U.S. history. And then 12th grade, they take government and law for living or economics. The minimum requirements for a 4-year college would be 3 credits. At JCHS, academic requirements and also state of Illinois, health is taken sophomore year. It's 1 semester taken sophomore year. It is occasionally offered in summer school and has been the past few years, so that is an option as well between freshman and sophomore year. PE, 1 credit is required. Students can usually knock that out freshman year. Actually, let's go back to PE. PE also can be, the PE credit can also be obtained through sports. Our sports, each sport that they participate in gets them a half a credit of PE. If they're involved in band, then that is a half credit of PE, and or the color guard would be a half credit of PE as well. 4-year colleges require 2 years of fine arts, and that can be in the form of Spanish as the foreign language equivalent to fine arts, 2 years. Some 4-year universities actually require 2 consecutive years of Spanish, but most require the 2 years of fine art, which could be band, choir, music, and again, foreign language. Credits to graduate. So JCHS requires 22 credits to graduate. And of course, we just went through several of those requirements. 4 credits of English, 3 credits of math, 2 credits of science, 1 credit of U.S. history, a half government is a semester, law or economics is a semester, health is a semester, 1 credit of PE, and then the remaining 9.5 credits will get students to 22. So we classify our students, freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior, according to number of credits earned. So to be a freshman, you can have between 0 and 4.5 credits. To reach sophomore status, which at our school we require students to wear IDs, and students are identified by their class level, by the color of their lanyard. Freshmen have green lanyards, meaning 0 to 4.5 credits. Sophomores, yellow. To get that yellow lanyard, you have to have at least 5 credits. Juniors, red lanyard, 9.5. Then senior credits would be 15, will get you the blue lanyard. So sometimes freshmen don't understand the importance of passing all their classes and earning credits, and just have a hard time understanding how classes work in high school in general. So what we've done is we've given you an example of a transcript of a student, and this student passed all classes in the 9th grade. And so this example student has taken 1 study hall all year and passed all classes. This student has 5+ credits. And so this student would move on to sophomore status. Here is an example of a student who would be retained. And I'm going to try to move my picture somewhere else so that you all can see what's in the green box. Okay, so this is an example of a high school transcript where 2 classes are failed in the 9th grade. This student also took a study hall all year and still failed 2 classes all year long. So this only gave the student 4.5 credits. Now, summer school would be an option for this student to get to 5 credits. 1 class in summer school could get that student to 5 credits and a yellow lanyard. But in general, if the student did not go to summer school, 4.5 credits would mean retention. And so the student will wear a green lanyard, be assigned on-campus lunch restriction. That is something that is a pre-COVID rule. We may be going back to that. It's just a rule that is occurred in the past for those students that were retained with poor grades. This student would also have no room to take a study hall the following year because they would have to make up the credits that they failed from the previous year. This student would also have to enroll in 2 English classes and repeat the math class, algebra concepts. So as you can see, it doesn't take very many failed courses to be retained as a freshman. There's a little bit more wiggle room as they move up the line to sophomore, junior, and senior year, but it's very important that they stay on track as freshmen so that they can get that yellow lanyard and 5 credits. And I'm going to move myself again. So let's talk about driver's ed. This is what is most important to students in general. This is what we get the most questions about. So the state of Illinois has requirements for driver's ed, and those requirements include passing 8 classes in the last 2 semesters. So if you're an 8th grader, you have to pass 8 classes between fall and spring of this school year to get into driver's ed next school year. You also have to be 15 years old before or during the book phase. So there's no way we could put you in it if you are not 15 or turning 15 during that quarter. So with the 8 classes passed and turning 15 during the class or already being 15, this equals enrollment in driver's ed at JCHS. So the state of Illinois, again, has requirements to get into driver's education. Student must have a driver's permit, the white slip, which they will get during the book phase of their driver's ed course, 9 months before his or her birthday, a minimum of 50 hours driving experience with a parent, 10 at night, 6 hours with an instructor, and pass the written and driving test. And that equals, hopefully, your driver's license at age 16. Something that I like to point out is that the driving phase, while it occurs at JCHS, it is not a class. What happens is that Mr. Brown, he will schedule each student with a driver as it gets closer to their 16th birthday, and that driver will reach out to the student to schedule those driving hours, but it's not necessarily a class that is scheduled out of the guidance department. So in terms of useful information, it's so important for students to be present. You never know what you might miss. But we found that having a remote option, our students, they perform much better when they're allowed to be in person. So it's important to come to school every day, have good attendance. Try not to procrastinate. It's easy to put off homework assignments, but when you have 6 classes and you don't do homework in any of those 6 classes one night, then you have a lot of things to make up, and it gets overwhelming if you continue to procrastinate and not do your work. So you have to learn how to balance your classes, your time, activities, social media. We encourage everybody to get involved in at least one sport, activity, or club. It will make your high school experience so much better. You'll get to know people, and you'll get to participate in, activities that are outside the school day. And just in general, you'll have a much better experience if you're involved in activities. If you need help, that's what we're here for. We're here to help you. You come to your counselor, you can come to your Panther Time teacher, you can go to any of your teachers, and we'll try to direct you in a way that will help you. So don't ever feel like you are lost and you have no one to go to for help. There's someone in this building who maybe you have connected with. Go to that person. We're here to help, and they can direct you to another person who may be able to help. The cooks, the custodians, the secretaries, everybody is here to help. And so just reach out to someone if you're struggling, and they'll get you to the right person, or they'll help you themselves. We're here to help students, and we don't want you to ever think that or be scared to ask for help. It's important to stay organized. Like I said, students are in 6 classes as freshmen, and so that's a lot of work. And when we're in the digital world, when I say stay organized, I mean check your emails. You have to look at a Google Classroom with 6 classes, and you have to log into each class. And so it gets somewhat overwhelming. So if there's a way you can organize yourself, use Google Calendar or a date book to write some things down, or just use your phone, the date book in your phone, that will help keep you organized in high school. Again, make good choices. Be honest and accountable for your actions. All actions have consequences, and we want to make sure that you make good choices and you have a great high school experience. So we kind of went through the course selection form and the 4-year plan a little bit quickly, but we will go into this in more detail during our individual student meetings. And so some dates of importance. This video should be going out on Thursday, January 13th via an email from Mr. Diamond or Dr. Cramsey. And so Friday, January 14th, the students at JCHS, we will meet with them in their language arts classes. St. Francis students will view this video as their orientation. We normally go in person, but will not be doing so this year. The information on this video is basically the same information that we're going to give to the JCHS students on January 14th. We'll be answering some questions from our students. And if you are from St. Francis Holy Ghost and you have questions, please bring them to the meeting and we'll be happy to answer those questions. Listed underneath over here is a list of registration appointments. In the email that Mr. Diamond or Dr. Cramsey sent you, there is a link to Sign Up Genius to sign up for some times. It is not mandatory that you pick a time to meet with your student. However, we would love to talk to you and your student about classes for next year and a 4-year plan, but it is not mandatory. Don't worry if you cannot meet with us on Zoom. We will call your student in and we will go through the same information that we would if you were present, and we will send that information home with your student. So the link that was sent, you should have an individualized email for students A through G with Mrs. Davis, H through P, Gears, and Q through Z, Wrench. You will click and get to Sign Up Genius and get to pick a date. If you have questions or technical difficulties, Denise Bach, she may be able to help you or point you in the right direction to get that help. If you don't have internet access, we may be able to set you up with a time. But just reach out to her. The phone number is listed at the bottom of this video. And in terms of the Zoom link, because some of the meetings are scheduled out in the next 2 weeks, we will make an effort to send out an email to those parents and students who have an appointment to Zoom on the day of the Zoom with the original link so that you can get into the Zoom meeting. You can use your student's computer to log into the Zoom, or a home computer, whichever you prefer. Some people even call in on their phone. Whatever works best for you works for us. So please reach out to us if you have any questions. Hopefully we went through everything necessary for you to get the registration process started. Thanks a lot, and we will see you soon.